Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, I would like to introduce the speaker of this webinar, Mr. Nilesh Desai, founder and CEO of SME Analytics. He is an MSME expert and is the author of the book, The Unexplored Gold Mine, The Opportunities in the Revival of the Sick MSMEs. Mr. Desai has widespread knowledge in MSMEs and he is working towards increasing the operational efficiency of the MSME units. He is fond of writing daily newsletter to spread awareness about the MSMEs world. Mr. Desai has a vast experience in engineering industry. He is a member in various committees and represents the interest of MSMEs. He has traveled extensively and has business association in Australia. Recently, we had a webinar in Valabikas where Mr. UK Deputy High Commissioner Mr. Andrew Famling visited our stall and he has encouraged Mr. Desai sir and also praised for the book written by him. We welcome Mr. Desai sir to continue the webinar. Thank you, sir. Please continue.
Thank you. See, today's topic is enhancing capacities of the MSME with possibility engineering. So these covers two aspects. First, to understand what is possibility engineering, and second is what is the capacity of MSME. So I will divide this webinar into two parts, and see, I'll go as per the slides. MSME, as per new definition of MSME, service sectors and retail has already been included. So nobody has got a total like how many units are there. But by simple calculation, at 6.5 crore MSME and 8 crore retail, we are taking it is 14.5 crore. And to be competitive, all entrepreneurs have to use available assets to fulfill more and expert product in the market. This can be achieved with applying smart thinking and continuous brainstorming to generate new possibilities. My webinar today is trying to ignite these sparks in entrepreneurs' mind and support MSME in India. I have categorized this webinar into parts: capacity and possible product portfolio. So let us start with capacity. See, I don't want to go with the book's definition of capacity and possibility engineering. I would like to keep my thing simple so that it can ignite your imagination. So I have asked many people in during last 20 years, what is your kitchen capacity to ladies, to gents, and I got various answers. So normally our Indian kitchen serves 4 to 5 people on normal days. But few times in a year, we serve 15 to 20 people on parties and gatherings, friends, relatives, birthday parties and all that. But marriage and large function, on such occasion, the lady of the house will organize to serve 100 guests also. So how she does it? Does it she hire the separate kitchen? No. She tries to do the same thing. She plans the recipe well in advance and prepare items which can be prepared one day in advance and use neighbor's place and equipment using big utensils available with her or neighbors, or start cooking early or take it on the rents, etc. So she knows the resources available to manage this kind of functions, and so her single priority is to serve the guests. Her single priority is to serve the guest. क्या यार ये see? So she uses disposable plates and use all volunteers to serve. On that day, the husband of that lady or father-in-law of that lady are all as volunteers. She has got only one goal, to make the occasion best. So our MSME can try to do this, increase capacity. Can they try? Yes. What she has done in her this thing, she has remembered what neighbors have got, what she can use in this kind of circumstances, what is possible. See where the rental utensils are available, how each ingredients are required, and still last moment pickups. She is ready to use whatever volunteers available at that time. She is the leader of the house. So can this be applied to MSME? See, the first possible thing is many MSMEs works in first shifts only, or 12 hours a day. They can identify the operations which is taking more time and start that operations in the second shift or third shift. Thus, they are not only reducing the fixed cost on larger turnover, they are utilizing the available assets in a better way. They can use extra or idle capacity of other MSMEs and improve supply chain, which our automobile industries are doing well in this area. If you take Maruti, when they came about 40 years back, they were all looking for tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers. But over a span of 10, 12 years, 15 years, they only depend on tier 1 suppliers, and they have trained tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers to see keeping the tracking intact. This is what our automobile industry is doing, and because of similar this thing, government is encouraging by various production link incentive scheme, so that the available idle capacity can be utilized better. Can explore various possibilities by study the production bottlenecks and think innovatively. That is what I tried. The second, certain operations in the process of manufacturing particular component can be outsourced and try to manage in just-in-time production process, which will give them the flexibility to meet the customer's demand. Can we do the same thing for our product or services? It is possible to automate certain repetitive tasks using modern technologies like CNC machines, robots, IoT, IIoT, AI, ML, and have to work out how to use the data. Many MSMEs who are above 5 years and 10 years or 30 years, they have got plenty of data, but that is lying in random places. If they can use that data, they will be able to come out from the behavioral pattern of the customers. They can do their pricing better, and collection depending on customers' behavior or customers' total potential versus what they are supplying. These can be understood well, and accordingly capacities can be planned around or bottlenecks can be removed. The process requires continuous brainstorming with the existing team, and it will lead to identify wasteful or non-value added activity and deal with it. When you do this process engineering, you will come across the plant layout improvement and kaizans and 5S. All that kind of things can be dealt, which can increase their production capacities. You can use mentors, consultants who can take bird's eye view and suggest the changes. It can open up these sparks in your brain or your workforce brain and other things. Next, please. So then second point in our webinar is possibility engineering. Now, possibility engineering, if you go by definition, it is a very complex this thing. which I will take up later in my slides. But according to me, my single take on this is, if I give your mother rice, sugar, and milk with minor additions, how many items we can make? So depending on her skill and use of technology, YouTube kind of thing, or now lot of recipes are coming on Facebook, various this thing, or she can go to some coaching classes. She can make 20 to 50 items. But if she prepares khichdi on your birthday or prepare kheer when you are sick, you get irritated. So MSME is having various machinery, finance, labor, customers, suppliers, other infrastructure. How many products can be made with the existing resources or with minor addition or outsourcing? They have, many of MSME do not know. They are only single focus. I can do this only. They are not listening to customers' pain point many times, or they neglect. Sir, I cannot do this. Can he start thinking why customer is asking that question? That will give him a new product or a minor change in the existing product or improvement in the product aesthetics or design or many things. So minor additions of or using other units capacity, product service should be able to serve existing customer and create more future customers. While thinking of this webinar, though I am an engineer, 1974 batch, was forced to think, what is engineering? So when we are talking about possibility engineering, though I studied engineering, as I created and I doubt whether I should go back to my drawing board and what is engineering. Probably this definition, which is as follows. Term engineering is derived from the Latin ingenium, meaning cleverness, and ingredient meaning to contrive device. So you have to try to devise something new which can cleverness, so that your effort or mechanical advantage or many other advantage you can get at a lower energy or labor consumptions. This example here, you can see how the lever is used for blasting and other things. So engineering has existed since ancient time, when human inventions such as the wedge, lever, wheel, and pulley, etc., that was the beginning of man wanted to reduce his effort, and which can be seen in this picture, that they have used many small engineering tools like wedge, lever, wheel, pulley, etc. Next, please. Different engineering roles. So in last 200-400 years, a lot of engineering has been developed. Software engineers, robotic engineers, power engineers, electronic, transport, nuclear, aerospace, many are listed here. And this is only representative of how much things has been developed in 300-500 years. Though wedge and wheels was used maybe 15 centuries back, or 20 or 30 centuries back. And from that, the birth of this all engineering, and it is expanding continuously. Reputation engineering and many more, quantum engineering, all these are evolving. As we go further, artificial intelligence, augmented reality engineering, virtual reality engineering, all these are the future terms, or existing at the high level in research laboratories, are evolving. Next, please. Then there are engineering methods. Phase one is the idea. So when you get with an idea, the idea comes only when you identify the problem or pain point. Step one, ask a question. Phase two is a concept. When you try to devise a possible solution, existing solution requirement and constraints. See, many people, many MSME unit has to concentrate on the constraint. So step 2 is do background research. Phase 3 is planning. Define objective. What is your purpose? You want to reduce efforts, or you want to give a better product to the customer, or whatsoever, that has to be documented. Plan, program, and schedule. This is the step 3, construct a hypothesis. Phase 4, design. Drawings, schematics, models, algorithm, proof of concept are all coming in step 4. And phase 5 is a development. See, now with 3D engineering, 3D prototyping, lot of things can be imagined better by this thing. Every days we'll have to go and make a model or development, prototype, experiments, validation and verification. These are step 5. Analyze the data, collect, draw conclusion, and step 6. Phase 6 is launch. So now you are ready. So you can go for a trial batch with smaller customer base or many input, so that product can be can be developed more robust way. This is a scientific method. So I'll go in detail by technical textbook. Possibility engineering is a variant of decision analysis that focuses on highlighting a robust set of acceptable courses of action that satisfy a decision maker's value constraint, rather than identifying and prescribing a single optimal course of action. This is a textbook definition. In this work, I will develop possibility engineering as a framework for resolving problem of choice under uncertainty. See, when we are sending our spaceship to Mars, a lot of uncertainties are there. So all that imagination, the possibilities, they have to work it out and devise. So that this has to be developed under uncertainties. This development will include motivation for adopting possibility engineering framework, establishment of synthetic probabilities and synthetic decision trees as core framework elements, formalization of series of interconnected things and clone operation for matrix, and ultimately establishment of the possibility matrix as the mechanism for partitioning the set of all available course of action in a manner consistent with the decision maker's value constraint. A value constraint has to be understood. The decision analysis faces a dilemma. How can she help decision makers make better choice while lacking critical information and absent their full engagement? By possibility engineering, I mean applying scientific, economic, social, and psychological principles and knowledge to envision, design, model, and structure relevant to uncertainties, influences, and choice facing a decision maker in a manner conducive to exploring possible outcome and future event via engaged discussion. At its core, decision analysis is the value optimizing and perspective. Possibility engineering employs decision analytic tools to model and structure relevant uncertainties, influences, choices in a manner conducive to exploring possible future outcome and event via engaged discussion. Conventional decision analysis and possibility engineering in this space of possibility helps in engineering helps us in following understanding your business capacity, capacity planning, better decision making, utilize the available resources, forward and backward business plan and linkages, connecting with nearby industries and probability. Many MSME entrepreneurs are using this in a gut feeling basis. They take this decision, but they don't optimize or they do not go in detail. I'm not talking about only cost. I'm talking about quality, delivery, your customers' demand of time management, all that has to be taken, where possibility engineering will help in um, uh, designing the things better. Understanding your business capacity. Now we are going on a little technical side. So where to start? How do you start understanding your capacity? See, before that, I am asked, I am one this thing. Corona has given a new thought. See, if I am asking some young gentleman at what speed he runs, he says 10 kilometers per hour. I am asking him whether it is your capacity. He says proudly, yes, it is my capacity. If next question when I ask him, if I put a barking Alsatian dog behind you, at what speed you will run? He laughs and says 20 kilometers. So next question, what I am asking him, how did you get that capacity all of a sudden from 10 kilometers to 20 kilometers? Here the question has come of his survival, and that makes him to run much faster. Corona has created this in us. 2 years we have suffered as a MSME. Number of my good friends have closed down the unit or they have become weak. And now it is a time to revitalize their units with the conditions that our exports are continuously growing, markets, economy is opening. There are supply chain constraints because of geopolitical situation. Inflation is running high. But with all these constraints, he will have to make good of his dream for which he has started his MSME unit. So first item is measure. First, you will need to measure your resource capacity. How many deliveries can each of your drivers make in a given period? How many orders can fit into one of your trucks? How many hours does it take your fleet manager to plan 50 deliveries? It is important to answer this type of question as accurately as possible because the rest of your plan will be based on these numbers. So these are the assumptions which has to be made critically. This is a case of a cargo truck from a factory delivery to go to some customers where suppose FMCG companies are there, 100 biscuit packets are to be given retail. And there are 50 orders all over the city. So he has to plan this, then analyze. Second is analyze. Once you have accurate measurement, you can spend time analyzing this information and determining whether or not you have insufficient capacity or excess capacity. Or if you have fully utilized all available resources. Making graphs will help you understand the numbers and make demand forecasting easier. Even now with the many computer software, you can do this. You not have to take paper and pen graph. You can do by using software. Then the third is formulate. The final step is taking all the information you have gathered and formulating a plan. You can make a calculation to see how much it will cost to fund new projects or hire a full-time employee versus bringing on seasonal part-time workers. So this is a challenge. Suppose in this summer, pen industry's demand goes up. Now he is in a dilemma whether to take full-time employee or to take part-time employee. Then when he open up that total process plan, he has to identify that suppose if winding takes more time, then he can take part-time people to work 4 hours extra so that winding can be done and assembly he can do in the day shift. This is where the thinking will come in. You could also calculate the ROI for upgrading a piece of machinery or adding assembly lines to your production facilities. This is production facility. The formulation stage helps you see what the likely outcome are for various options. So you can make the best decision. I'll go a little bit in the past. a number of MSME friends will be knowing about Walkman. We used to have that Walkman made by Sony Corporation. One American company approached Sony Corporation in early days. He said, if I want one Walkman, what is the cost? 10, what is the cost? 100, what is the cost? 500, 1,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakhs. Once he reached 10 lakhs, he went on reducing the cost. Then he wants 20 lakhs. He has increased the price. Normally, in our decision-making process, we can reduce further. Then the founder of Sony said, sir, after 20 lakhs pieces your order, if you do not give further order, I am having a lifetime people. I cannot hire and fire. They are going to be my permanent asset. Until I use them fully, I'll have to have a financial buffer. So many times this information, in our enthusiasm, we go on reducing further. And when you take up manpower or take machinery, till you get alternative business from that machinery, you will have to bear interest costs, storage charges, or employees benefit, everything. So you will have to be very careful for your capacity planning. Now we'll go to capacity planning, designing, implementing, evaluating process. Let us start with understanding the situation. This is the most critical aspect. Are you in a seasonal product? Are you in a long-term product like some defense, or where they will be continuously requiring for 4-5 years, or automobile? Unless there is a basic change in the model, they will have buy that item. So understanding the situation, you have to also take economical situation, interest rate calculation, likely situation in change of various commodities, possible supply chain constraint because of geopolitical situations, and arrive. Then focusing and designing. The next, this thing is, how do you, this slide is 100% editable, adapt it to your needs and capture your audience attention. So focusing on designing, third is creating, fourth is implementing and monitoring. This is again a very this thing, critical item. Implementing is comparatively easy, but monitoring and getting a feedback and correcting it is very critical in everything, evaluating and replanning. So this circle goes on, and till you come to a best available solution. Better decision making. Making a good decision is a key skill for personal and professional success. Making sound, logical decisions in your professional life can positively impact you, your colleagues, and your organizations. Applying effective strategies and techniques can help you improve your decision-making skills. This is very critical. Continuous learning has to be there. See, with COVID, many people have started working from home. They were forced to work from home, but that has given a lot of possibility. Their own houses where they did not have a small office. Now we are a young couple working in a software. They will provide for that small extra room where both can work at their office time. This is where factoring the possible scenarios as in capacity outside. In the next slide, we'll explain how you can become a better decision maker. 5 ways to improve your decision making. First, consider what is at stake. You have to be putting all scenarios, assemble facts, identify alternatives, explore pros, cons, and risks. See, many MSMEs units have started in the 70s because of technocrat scheme. because 100% finance was available. They did not consider the risk of their youth, which they are putting, and slowly that is why risk. Our SME analytics has identified 72 types of different risks which my MSME friends are facing. Choose the best path and take action. This is the way this has to be done on a regular basis for small decisions to big decisions. But one thing, if you take a right decision, you can you are doing better. But if you take a wrong decision, you can correct it. But if you do not take a decision, you are harming yourself irreparably. So you have to take spot decision wherever possible, whatever time you require for collecting this. But delaying the decision making is harming your growth of your unit. Next, please. Utilize the available resources. Resources efficiency is the maximizing of the supply of money, material, staff, and other assets that can be drawn by a person or organization in order to function effectively with minimum wasted resources. This is very clear. You have to have a minimum wasted resources expenses. It means using the available limited resources in a sustainable manner while minimizing the cost. So first thing is you have to identify what are the resources available, and resources are generally available in tangible and intangible way. So your employee's brain, employee skill are intangible resources. So you should understand the the employees' resources. For that, our SME analytics is coming out with a product, nurture your talent. Next webinar will be on that topic. So use your resources effectively, efficiently, and economically so that you can grow in a single direction. Next, please. Our logos are not coming. Forward or backward business plan. Backward integration and forward integration both are the two types of vertical integration. In these two types of methods, companies either can choose backward vertical strategy or can choose forward vertical strategies. This can thus they can choose both strategies. So it's a general cycle of manufacturing, raw material, intermediate goods, manufacturing, marketing, sales, and after sales service. So whatever material, raw material you are taking, you can go for backward integration and start making so that your cost of raw material go down and you can be more competitive. Or forward integration, your finished good, whatever you are making, can be improved and vertically given. See, India has got large mineral resources. So we mine iron ore and we send it to foreign country like China, and we import steel for China. Instead of that, iron ore, how I can consume here? This is a large scale industry, large scale imagination. But a farmer, see, if he has got a tomato cultivation, he can think of putting a tomato sauce making unit near to this. So the transportation and other costs can be reduced to minimum, because the 1 kilo of tomato will not give you 1 kilo of tomato sauce. That will be wastage. So that wastage also, when you transport, increases the tomato cost at tomato sauce cost. This is a very simple example, but India spends about 40,000 crores worth of fruit and vegetable only because it is made somewhere, say Himachal Pradesh, and it goes everywhere over the country. Meanwhile, the transportation, they get rotten. So these kind of things, whether we can set up small manufacturing units near the item where we produce, or about 30 years back, a lot of sponge iron plant has come because iron ore is getting nearer, coal is available. They use that and make sponge iron, which can be added in blast furnace. So there are many possibilities which can come up in this sector. This is only limited to your imagination. Next slide. Connecting with nearby industry. This is a general thing. Networking events are not just a place for meeting potential client and getting approached by financial advisor and insurance agent. Although I seem to find plenty of the latter when I go to local events, they are also a great place to meet and connect with peers and other professionals within your own industry. In today's world, it is likely fellow industries connection will look you up online to discover more about your professional background and interest. Just as you would in person, make sure to put your best and most professional foot forward. When networking via social media, stick to professional sites such as LinkedIn and keep your profile accurate, up to date, and complete. This will help you. See, I'm getting that advantage of a lot of my connection in LinkedIn, and many thought-provoking things are coming to my mind. Probability. People are always interested in their future, and what will happen tomorrow is sometimes more important to us than what is happening today. Now, tomorrow is like a compensation and a nice revenge for us. Most people are fascinated by tomorrow. What is going to be our life look like? Am I going to be richer and prettier? It is like an escape from today. See, this is again because today is always guilty of something. That is why we often try to predict the future. Sometimes our predictions are based on what we know, and we have some choices to choose between. In this case, we just use some techniques and method to give more chances to some possible event or other. This kind of predictability is an object of mathematics. When our predictions are not based on real fact, it is hard to decide which event has more chances to occur in the future. In this case, it is like playing blind game with no certain rules. So this is more predictable to my MSME friend who are taking gut-based decision. They have to move to data-based decision making as fast as possible. Next, please. This is the probability scale. Impossible, 1 in 6 chance, unlikely, even chance, likely, 1/4 in 5 chance, and certain. This is a probability scale. So we have to weigh all possible scenarios on this. Takeaways of this webinar, as time is coming at this thing, increase your production capacity with minimum cost. If I have to put in another way, apna hath Jagannath. Improve your production portfolio to serve your existing and future customer. Proper utilization of all our resources like labor, finance, customer, suppliers, machinery, and other infrastructure is the takeaway of this webinar. Next, please. See what SME analytics are doing. We have developed a tool known as Babaji, that is business analytics, business documentation, growth information system, which will analyze the balance sheet of yours to give you 52 ratio. This tool can be given to you. You can do the business analysis yourself and compare your balance sheet for your 2-3 years, and then find out where your idle resources are lying or how you can optimize the available resources. This is free of cost. We also do mentoring for startups and MSME. Ours is a premium based model, and our ultimate goal is to develop something known as Z score, which is possibly a predictive insolvency to manage insolvency in future. So when you start developing weakness, early signals will be given instead of the today's existing 90 days NPA notice and SMA1, SMA2. This will be there. This is the first service. This is free of cost service. Please avail this. Next slide, please. We have been awarded recently by HICIA as one of the top hottest and startup in Hyderabad. That is on 29th this thing, on 16th December. Next, please. See, one more point. I am a permanent resident of Australia, also citizen of India. So I am ready to offer my service as director for Australian companies who want to expand in India. Similarly, I am ready to offer my services for Indian companies to expand in Australia. I have got a business interest in Australia also. One more thing, we are also developing an HR tool where we will measure the soft skill and hard skill of your existing workforce and also their health conditions, their families, this thing. And every 3 months, we'll measure their changes happening in the learning, and so that you can make a better teamwork that will help you to improve innovation in your this thing. Quality will improve and reduce your production jerks. Because see, 90% of unit in wherever it is, there is a probability of migrant workers. They may come around for say 20 kilometers or 200 kilometers or 1500 kilometers. They are coming. So they generally like to go back to their place once in a year. So that kind of things you can well calculate and do not fail with your customer for production delivery. This information entrepreneur or supervisor knows, but is not categorized in this way. So all of a sudden, they come out with this thing, and we expect that by this measure itself, you will be able to save 5% at least in your labor wage bills, or indirectly or directly 1 or 2% to your net profit margin. And everybody wants to increase their profit. The next topic will be cultivating talent for MSME. It is on 4th June 2022. Please attend in large number, and this is very critical for. This is first time I am talking about this. Thank you, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. These are my social media coordinates. Thank you. Then we can. The floor is open for question and answers. We have got 15-20 minutes. Please start the question answer.
Sir, first question is, please give some examples of technology like IoT, ML usage in MSME and improved their operational efficiency.
See, I will divide this answer in two parts. In our normal life, when we are traveling in car, if you go 20 years back and today car is more integrated. I can open the car door by remote. I can control my AC by remote. That is a simple example of IoT. So in a manufacturing company, they are using many motors, electrical motors, and the problem with electrical motors, that bearing wear away. So when the bearing is wearing off, the sound changes. If we can control that sound, we can measure by using sensors. It may be because of non-proper lubrication or the bearing is worn out. Then you can have a predictive maintenance schedule, more defined, rather than. So this is an example of IoT, IIoT. You can always control your energy efficiency by many devices, like suppose you have fan belt, which is a normal between a motor and a machine where there is a fan belt. If it is wearing out, your power consumption or energy consumption goes up. These are the things which can be uh, optimized. And the second part is AI and ML. See, artificial intelligence and machine learning you can always use for your existing available data to find out various interpretation of customer behavior or similar supplier behavior. My general thinking as an entrepreneur for 41 years is bank is one, but suppliers are unlimited. So if you behave with your suppliers, you get unlimited supply. That is where the reputation management comes in, where aging statement, things like that, which are simple tools. Any accountant can do it, but management should be open up to start this process. I hope I answered your question. Next.
Second question, which scheme to improve ease of doing business in the MSME sector is?
There are many schemes of government of India and government of state governments also. They keep changing, reprofiling their existing scheme, like Z scheme. Zero effect, zero defect was introduced in 2016. Now they have revised, taking the feedback after 5 years, and they simplified that thing. Z scheme, I will advise many MSME units who are in the turnover range of 10 crore to and above, they can start implementing because it is 5-stage simple this thing. Any scheme of government, you will have to be ready, and it should not be top driven, but it is organization as a whole should align themselves. Because if entrepreneur bring that scheme, and the second level people, third level people, they are not ready to implement, the failure will be there at your end, and you may blame the scheme. Government has come out with many good schemes. Energy efficiency is one scheme that can really substantially improve your profitability. But you should be open and adopt it whole organization wide. Next question.
Next question is, why MSME in India need to focus on capacity utilization?
Sir, capacity utilization is a better return of existing asset rather than increasing the capacity. If you look into the COVID years or 1 year earlier than COVID, our large scale industry did not expand the capacity because they have not reached up to 70-75% of that existing capacity. And that is reflected as soon as COVID in 2020, August, September, it has reduced down. You see that their profitability has drastically increased, and that is reflected in stock market quotation prices of their shares. How that has increased? See, that is because they have got from 60-70%, they utilize up to 80%. So that fixed cost has been divided over a larger cell. Similarly, any idle capacity is a drag on many things apart from profitability. You have to spend money on cleaning that, you have to spend money on the real estate. You may have to pay for some depreciation if it is a capital asset. So these, you have to use the available resources optimally and use technology as much as possible. See, yesterday Narendra Modi inaugurated drone facilities, and India is likely to become drone capital of the world in next few years. So that is an advantage of using technology. Innovative brains are in plenty available in our country.
Next question is, there is any scheme including financial assistance to upgrade technology?
There are many schemes available for upgrading your technology, either in manufacturing company, capital link subsidy is available, but or for your computer related or digitization or something, they are available. Testing also, quality control also, many schemes are available at central government, state government. But please do not get lured by that subsidies and other things. You identified really you did need that or not, and whether it is in line with your goal of your factory or service industry where you are there. It should be in a single focus goal.
Another question is, there is any quota in government buying for MSME?
See, government has come out for procurement. 20% of a large scale PSU unit has to buy from MSME. Out of that, 4% is preferably to be purchased from women entrepreneurs. Also, there is a quota for SC/ST entrepreneurs. But do not start your industry because that quota is available. Please understand, you have to follow Apna Hath Jagannath.
Next question is, how can MSME develop their radical and incremental innovation capabilities at the product and process level?
Come again.
How can MSME develop their radical and incremental innovations capability at the product and the process level?
Who has asked this question? See, this question we'll have to take up on two parts. Incremental innovation, you have to involve everybody in the supply chain, like your workers, supervisor, and continuously brainstorm. And for radical innovation, so that is why in Second World War time, Japan has done, and then slowly all items in early stage of our independence were coming from Japan, like even safety pin, buttons used to come from Japan because they have established their quality by reducing the cost by Kaizans, 5S, TQM, TPM, and various things, including Six Sigma. Six Sigma, though it has come from Samsung, Motorola, but they continuously have focused on reducing wastage in the processes. It can be manpower, it can be machinery, it can be anything. Their focus was only on reducing wasteful expenditure in the process chain. But for radical innovation, your MSME should have a strong conviction. I'll go back to 1990s or 1980s, 85. LPG cylinders were made in a corporate sector, 80s, 85s. But somebody from MSME sector has applied himself, and they made in a hydraulic press, which is much lower capacity. He fabricated that press. He was a designer. And that is how the Laswin group has come up. In those times, they've grown very drastically, but other things are latter this thing. But for a radical innovation, you will have to think out of box. Out of box thinking is required for radical innovation. It can happen in your processes, it can happen in your product, it can happen in various other fields fields in your existing process system. Next, please.
Next question is, how to realize resource management is an ongoing process. Where to start with resource management tool?
I have already explained. First, measure. You have to measure what are your available resources. Like, say, many times, see, your computer assets or software assets are there by spending your today OS system comes inbuilt, but we do not know all functions of that OS. We have started with Windows 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, 12, 11, 13, but we are not getting updated in our skill. So identify what are the skill gap, what are the equipment gap, what are the skill available gap, equipment available, and try to map in process or production flow or office system and use that to tilt so that you get maximum out of it. See, today many schools having a large building, they are permitting in the evening classes to be conducted because at that time that premises are idle. Can that be done? Because today after COVID, it has become necessary for all level of employees. Learn, relearn and unlearn is a continuous process for all employees. Next, please.
Another question is, how we have to identify non-utilized assets like inventory, machinery, manpower in operational efficient assessment.
Observation, observation, observation. Go around to your shop floor, to your office floor, to this thing, look around, stand there, see. Many times I hear in my life I have done by cleaning particular area, you will be able to identify lot of idle assets. I had purchased a plot, land plot in Kazipalli. It was totally covered with grass. So we started cleaning. Then we found out there is a septic tank, which is costing at that time, if I have to build that, it would have cost me 1 lakh rupee. So observation, 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 and taking clues from where that this may be possible, this may be possible. That will help you to identify. Similarly, intangible assets. See, these are all physical assets we can observe. Intangible assets. Talk to your team as often as possible. Don't talk only on the production or link subject. Entertainment sometimes, picnics sometimes. They really make a drastic change in motivational level to increase the productivity or operational efficiency. Because human by nature gets fatigued, and that fatigue removal can be done by change in atmosphere with various possible entertainment, questioning, change of subject. That is, you treat your customer are 100% people, your financier are 100% people, your workers are 100% people. So you have to deal with that, develop your people skill in the way which will help you to identify possible skills. See, recently when we made this song, entrepreneur song, Gayatri helped us to redesign that. See, that is where these changes are coming out. Any further questions?
Yes, sir. One more question is there. Mr. Shivaprasad sir has asked, how an MSME business owner have to improve himself continuously?
Shivaprasad ji, you have asked very tough question. See, you can improve if you desire to improve. there should be necessity to improve. Many MSME entrepreneurs who have started about 30 years back, 20 years back, because there is that family life, there is no successor. They use that available facility because they have created a handicapped child. So, like a mother, she loves her handicapped child. So they go there and use as a club rather than innovating for which he has started. So MSME entrepreneur, as in one of the slides I said, has to network, keep his eyes and ear open so that the data comes in. Then he has to do some research or allied activity with that, and this can be done every second. That is in 86,400 second God has given us. And he should have that desire, that passion to learn continuously. It is not necessarily only about his business. Human as a body or brain has to have, he gets fatigued very easily, depending on his mental strength and many things. So this is a must for any entrepreneur. He should continuously single focus, like Arjuna did that Swayamvara. He should have single focus on a single eye. No other distraction should happen. Anything next? So next webinar will be on 4/6. The topic is
Cultivating talent for MSMEs.
please understand, I am not using, I am using a word cultivating. So talent can be cultivated, can be nurtured. That is the importance of the next webinar on 4/6 at 4 o'clock. Thank you everybody for participating. Thank you.